There is no greater feeling. Hey guys, Amelia here. Welcome back to the Madera family. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate mine and Andrew's wrap job on the bus. So we didn't get a tarp because we're only going to have it covered for a short period of time. And so we just tied like plastic around the bus. Look at that. Dang, that looks nice. Okay, we're hanging out in the garden for a little bit while I talk to you guys about the sacrifices that you make when you bring farm animals onto your farm. And honestly, bringing the large farm animals on is kind of what drove us away from expanding the farm and growing. Let me take you back, okay? So we had 2 horses on our farm and the horses were fine. I'm not a big horse person, but they were fine. They were nice, they had no problems. One passed away, which was really sad, and then the other horse just would not leave the barn. He was just bound to stay in the barn. He wouldn't go anywhere, so we ended up finding a home for him in Michigan, and he's doing great. Everything is good. And then we decided to get cows, and the reason we decided to get cows was because they're a little bit less hands-off. So we thought, okay, this is great, we'll get cows. There's a Longhorn cow breeder the next town over, so we went over there, saw a bunch of them, fell in love with them. We ended up bringing them back to the farm, and the first few months it was great. Like, they just ate the pasture down. They were great. Did they get out of the fence? Probably once or twice, and then we put up electric fence and it was fine. And at that point everything was going really good, and the barn was full of animals. We had goats, we had chickens, we had meat chickens, we had pigs, and then we had the cows. And we decided we were going to breed our cows. First of all, we wanted beef for ourselves, and we already did the meat chickens, so we were like, okay, we're going to breed them with an Angus cow, and then it'll be great. We'll have meat all year, chicken and beef. Like, what else could you want, you know? So that's what we decided to do. We took them back to the breeder, or to the original place that we bought them from, because he has an Angus bull. So we took them there. They got bred. They came back, and it was like a light switch. They were so mean. They were constantly jumping the fence. Even to feed them was scary. Like, first of all, they're Longhorn cows, so their horns are just scary to begin with, and they're big. And just going in to feed them, I was terrified. They had gotten out, and we live right by a golf course, and they were like running down by the golf course. And in my mind, I am thinking, these cows are going to run through that golf course, and we're going to have to sell our house to pay for the damage that they're doing to these greens. That is not okay. And so I'm stressing out, my husband's stressing out, we're chasing them around looking like fools. And the one day, Colton and I are walking out in the yard, jumps out and comes running at us, and I was like, absolutely not. I am not going to have my son be chased by a freaking cow. Andrew and I decided that we were going to downsize on all of the animals. It broke our hearts. We loved these animals so much, and we still, like, to this day, I will walk out to the barn and just start bawling because I love the animals so much, but you have to be realistic. The reason I'm making this video is because I don't think a lot of people explain or talk about, like, the sacrifice that you are making when you bring these animals onto your farm. It is time, it's energy, it's money. I can't even tell you how many times we couldn't go do something because our cows got out, or we would be somewhere and our neighbor would text us and say, hey, your cows are out. And it's not like we didn't have fencing. Like, we have electric fencing. They just would destroy it. I don't know if it's just us and we were just unlucky. But I think it's important to understand that when you bring animals onto your farm, you are going to sacrifice going on vacations, sacrifice doing a lot of things that you probably didn't think. It's important to understand that before you bring the animals on. And we did to a degree. But when you have a little one, something changes. We had Colton, and it wasn't right away. Like, we still loved having the animals. But over the last year, we felt like, okay, we want to go on a weekend trip, but we can't. just because we have these animals that need our attention all the time. So we decided to get rid of them. We found a great home for them. They all went together, the cows and the goats. They're all doing great right now. But the reason that it pushed us to kind of open our eyes and look at something different was we want to be able to go and travel and go see whatever we want to see when we want to see it. If that means buying a bus and turning it into an RV so that we have a place to sleep, then that's what we decided we're going to do. Having the animals was great, and we learned so much. Honestly, I learned more in the last 4 years having animals than I have learned like ever. I am so much more confident in myself. Like, I can do anything. Like, that's how I feel, because I've been dealing with these animals for so long. I feel like nothing phases me. Like, even stressful situations, when I think of them, I'm like, okay, this is nothing compared to dealing with cows. Like, it's nothing. But it is eye-opening, and you realize how much time and energy that you put into these animals. And for us, it's just we needed time to like decompress. We needed space in our lives to go explore, to, put energy into something that we don't have to worry about. So this is where kind of the bus came into play. It's in the middle of winter. We're already thinking about like summer. We're stressing if we're going to have enough hay to last us in the winter. We just started thinking, like, what would our lives look like if we didn't have farm animals? What would our lives look like if we could just leave for a weekend trip? Like, what would that be? Started to get really excited about that idea. Actually, we started like daydreaming about going out west, camping, and being able to just go for a week if we wanted to. And those daydreams started to turn into like little sparks of inspiration for us. And that inspiration then turned into Andrew buying the bus. And if you guys want to see the video of us buying a bus, it's right up here. You can go ahead and check it out. It's really cool. I think, when you think about buying a bus, it's kind of overwhelming, but it's really not. I mean, compared to buying an animal that you're going to be taking care of every day and could get sick or whatever, like, buying a bus is nothing. Honestly, it's just a bus. Like, you don't have to feed it, you don't have to give it water, you don't have to make sure it gets anything during the day. It's just there. So for us, it was like, oh, it's a no-brainer. We'll just buy it and work on it little by little, and then we'll be able to travel. We won't have to worry about really the animals. We still have pigs and we still have some chickens, and that's manageable. That's enough where my in-laws or my parents can come out, give them some food and water, and they're not going to run away. Nothing bad's going to happen to them. It's manageable. We have bees still, so in those, you don't really have to do much with them. But it's those large animals that you really want to take your time and really contemplate. Like, is it something that you want? Or if you have them, is it something you want to keep dealing with and you want to keep putting your energy into? For us, it wasn't. It was just time to do something else that's going to inspire us. So the bus it is for now. And that doesn't mean in a couple of years we don't come back and, what Colton wants some goats or something and we get goats. But the plan is for us, we're going to work on this bus. We gave ourselves 2 years to get it done. It's going to be an RV at the time. We're going to travel when we can, hoping that my job or Andrew finds something where we can, be remote. And if we want to leave for a month, we can be gone for a month. That's obviously future plans. That's nothing that's happening tomorrow, but we'll see where it takes us. But for now, on the farm, we are still going to have meat chickens. We just got more laying chickens, so we have those. And we have bees, so we're going to be harvesting honey. And I am still doing my garden. I love to garden. Even on the bus, if we were to move in that bus and we were going to live in it full time, I would have to have some sort of like plants or something on there, because when you sow that seed and then you see that plant come up through the dirt, there is no greater feeling. I lied. There is a greater feeling when that plant brings you your first fruit. When you get that first tomato off that plant, there is no greater feeling than getting that tomato. It's just, it's like a miracle. Like the garden to me is still like magical. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about the farm and the bus and kind of explain where our minds were and why we were making this change in our life. Madera Farms has been such a great thing for us, and it's not going away. It's just going to be changing a little bit. We're not going to have the large animals anymore. We're not going to do the goat yoga, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have some community events. I have some ideas of things that I would love to do. Farm stand, as long as my garden pans out, will still be open this year. So nothing going away with the farm. We're just making some different changes. Any questions, leave it in the comments below. I'm sure there are people out there who've had animals or have them and have a different view or opinion. To each their own. But I just wanted to tell you our story, and I want to kind of explain the channel. I know you'll see a little bit of farming stuff. You'll see a little bit of the bus stuff. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. We'll see you next week.